Let's dive in a little bit deeper into this idea of global and local behaviors. Every element in the container can operate in those two modes. Global mode means that the same curve, distribution, and time affect all the parameters in the container. Local mode, on the other hand, lets each one of these parameters have its own individual values when a transformation is triggered. To adjust parameters locally, click on these small icons to reveal all the controls. You will see three familiar fields: time, distribution, and morphing, just like the global ones. By default, this globe icon over here shows that the global mode is active. If you disable it, you switch to local mode. Now, I have assigned here different settings for each value. The first one has a duration of 1 second. The second one has a duration of half a second. I also given them different distribution curves. The first one has a normal distribution, the second one a beta, and the same for the interpolation curves. The first one uses ease in, the second one circular out. Now, when we trigger a transformation in local mode, each parameter responds using its own settings. You can see. There's also a third behavior to note. If you use the small dice or play buttons next to each slider, they will always use these settings, the local ones, no matter what this button is doing, if it's disabled or enabled. These two always use these local settings. So one parameter might still interpolate over 1 second with a certain curve, while another one uses half a second with this other curve. If I trigger this, half a second, 1 second. This flexibility allows you to blend both global and local behaviors creatively. Alright, now let's talk about the range control. The range defines both the visible slider limits and the search space used for randomization or interpolation. For example, this range here is set between 0 and 20. I could map it to 1 and 5. Now my full range respects those boundaries. This lets you compose better what kind of values you want to obtain from your randomizations. Now you can see that the value is much more constrained. Some parameters have built-in restrictions. For instance, the period parameter, because it's mapped to its limit array, it will respect if this period has a clamp minimum value. So in this case, I cannot put something like -1 because it will clamp at 0. Many built-in parameters have such clamping. So be mindful that that may be the case if something is not quite working. Make sure to check the ranges for your parameters and what is possible. Other parameters like amplitude support, for example, negative values, and in this case, it's no problem. I can go below 0. That, again, depends on what you have set in your custom parameters. Here we don't have a clamping, and what built-in parameters, for example, from our noise top, support. Amplitude supports negative, but period doesn't support negative. So you cannot use those if you map them to the parameter morpher. Let's now look at one third button we see here, which is the lock button. Where a parameter is locked, it won't change during any transformation, morphs, randomization, or otherwise. So if I click here, it remains locked to the current value. Unlocking it returns it, obviously, to its normal behavior. So now I can, again, use it. This also applies to the local randomization and morph buttons. So if I do this and randomize here, nothing happens. Finally, if you want to remove a parameter, you can click on the Destroy button or Delete button. You'll be asked to confirm before deletion. When removed, the parameter original value, so that's the one you had when you first added it here, will be automatically restored in the original node. So in this case, if I change my periods, for example, to 0 and I delete it, it will automatically revert to 3.54, which is the value it had when I mapped it. That's it for global and local behaviors. In the next video, we'll explore presets and learn about some useful controls and shortcuts to make our workflow faster and more efficient. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my work and want to support future projects and access to all my tools, please consider subscribing on Patreon. It really helps keep creation and research going. You can also connect with me through my website, Instagram, or just drop me an email. I would love to hear from you. All links are in the description below. See you next time.